What's up, he, hims, she, hers, and they, thems? Today we're going to be reacting to crazy gender TikToks. You already know what's up. Let's get into it. Guys, before we get into this video, sign up for my email list every Friday. You'll get a personal little newsletter from me, plus update about content that we're creating at PragerU and at Unapologetic. Now, let's get into these wild TikToks that could only be made in the year 2023.
You could be both. I'm both, actually. I am a trans woman and I have a cisgender girlfriend. We are in a lesbian relationship and we absolutely love each other. She says she supports me 100% and we're gonna get married soon.
Ow, that hurt my brains. Ow.
Okay, so you're a man, a biological man, who is in a relationship with a biological woman, which means you are technically in a heterosexual relationship. Would I get in trouble or be accused of hurting somebody for misgendering this person? Yes, probably that would be what's happening in our current society. And to me, that is just absolutely ludicrous. Yeah. And not cool ludicrous like the rapper, just ludicrous as in Looney Tunes insane.
Stop it!
And if this is allowed, right? If this man is allowed to call himself a lesbian, how does the lesbian community feel about that? I know I've heard from a few in the L camp of the LGBTQ+ acronym say that they feel like their entire sexuality is being erased. Because if a biological man can now say that they're a lesbian because they identify as a woman, then what does it even mean to have the word lesbian anymore?
Doesn't matter.
We saw this actually become sort of tangible in a definition of lesbian that was put out by Johns Hopkins University. This is a reputable university that is known for putting out some of the best, most highly accredited doctors in the entirety of the United States of America. They put out an LGBTQ glossary where they defined the term lesbian as a non-man who is attracted to non-men. So when a lesbian comes out and says, I feel like my identity is erased or is being erased, they would actually have ample evidence to back that claim. It's no wonder that people are calling this into question. And mind you, they did not do the same for the definition of gay man. Gay man was just a man who's attracted to other men.
What did it mean gay? This word
homosexual.
Gay.
That's all they said for that definition. But lesbian in particular got non-man attracted to non-men. Make it make sense for me, please. The math is not mathing.
I get so many comments like this and I want to explain something.
Let's read the comment. Why are you guys getting mad at us for getting your pronouns wrong when it's very new to us? Okay.
Being misgendered can be an incredibly painful experience. In that moment, we are reminded that the world places us into a bucket that we do not fit in. And it is incredibly traumatic to grow up being constantly told you're something you're not. So for a lot of people, being misgendered triggers that trauma. So if it looks like I'm mad, it's probably because I'm in a lot of pain. In the same way that when we stub our toe, we scream expletives because we're in pain. Also, us non-binary people were forced to educate ourselves on our own existence. So it can be frustrating when we see people who are not putting in the work and constantly making mistakes.
Well, yeah, you kind of would be forced to educate yourself on your own existence because it's made up a little bit. I'm so sorry. Like, can we be real? Can we be real on that for a second? If I saw this guy, I would assume that he's a guy and I would use the pronouns he, him. That's just where we're at right now, and it's probably where we're going to be for the foreseeable future.
So now we have the truth.
And I know it is new. I know mistakes are bound to happen. And I have patience for people who are genuinely putting in the work. I know so many of you don't want to be hurting non-binary people, but the truth is when you misgender us, you are. And to expect us to hold your hand through it while we're being hurt, that's abusive behavior.
Just because you say you're hurting me does not mean the person is actually hurting you. What they're doing is leading their normal lives, recognizing things that have always been recognized. I'm looking for people who get accused of misgendering to say, you know, you're hurting me by making this stuff up and forcing me to, you know, compel my language in a certain direction. But they can't say that, can they? Right? Because they're not part of the marginalized, protected community that gets to make these accusations of hurt on the internet. For those of you who have been accused of misgendering other people, you're not hurting them. They might feel hurt, but you are not purposefully going out and doing something like that to somebody. It's just sort of ridiculous to place that amount of strife and burden on somebody who is simply adhering to objective truth. This next one, I'm actually scared to watch, and I think it's going to cause me pain in watching, and I'm not even going to warn you about what is in this. Yeah, I'm not going to warn you.
Totally, yeah. Technically, a gender-affirming piercing can be any piercing that you get that affirms your gender. Think of, earlobe piercings for women. But when a lot of people say this term, they're referring specifically to piercings that help with bottom dysphoria for trans people. The specific piercings that I got are inner labes. A lot of trans masculine people will get these piercings and get them done at a large gauge and wear big heavy jewelry in it, and it can emulate balls. When you're wearing this type of jewelry and these piercings, it can affect the way that you have to sit and stand and walk in a way that makes your body language appear more masculine. A lot of people also just find it really affirming to have that physical weight there. If you want to hear more about what my experience getting these piercings was like and what they're like so far for me, go to the next video.
Do y'all get what that means? Did you get what that means? That is a piercing on your privates, if you are a woman, that you get, and then you can hang things from so that it emulates male testicles.
Dad?
Oh, first of all, that sounds absolutely horrific. Absolutely horrific. You really need to think about this. And I think this TikTok, if my eyes do not deceive me, got 87,000 likes, which means this resonated with 87,000 people, and presumably some of those people are considering this move in their own personal lives. And you mean to tell me that maybe there is not some other psychiatric comorbidity happening within these people?
I do not believe it. I will not.
Like, how many more examples do you need to hear that maybe something is off here? Already people aren't really batting an eye at, children asking to get double mastectomies and to get phalloplasties and stuff like that, which are just absolutely crazy surgeries when you get down to the bottom of them. But a piercing like this to gender affirm yourself, this is a new door that's been opened.
Close the door!
And I didn't know that it existed, but since I know, you had to know as well. I can't imagine the pain scale on something like that.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate your pain?
This is the last one, guys.
Something keeps calling me back to this comment, and I think it's the fact that, as a black woman, you are using white supremacist talking points to defend your transphobia.
Okay, let's read the comment. So this is a black woman commenting on her TikTok saying, literal DNA, bone structure, chromosomes make me a woman. But do you? And I would completely agree with that. We know that to be true. We know that in all of our research of the difference between men and women. And this is a way that we can, in fact, distinguish between the two sexes. So I'm curious to hear how this is white supremacist thinking when it comes to the gender issue.
And that's really heartbreaking, because do you realize that talking about things like bone structure is what white supremacists do to separate themselves from black people?
Wow. This is actually quite a manipulative strategic argument. Wow, this is interesting. I imagine she's going to go into I believe what is called phrenology. You can fact check me on that. But in Nazi Germany, when they were going through the Holocaust and all these different things, they would evaluate the bone structure of individuals to sort of figure out whether or not they were, part of the Aryan race or if they were Jewish, and would place them in, the different camps through these apparently researched metrics that they used. And she's equating that to a biological woman, saying, I am a biological woman because of my chromosomes, my DNA, and my bone structure that often coincides with being born with the biological sex of female.
Historically, that's what they've done. White supremacists have said that white people and black people have DNA. We're different species. We have different bones. We have different muscles. As a way to be like, black people, other. We don't want them around us. And
you can acknowledge that people have different genetic makeups and different structures without using that to make a racial argument. It's just simple fact. Now, people can use facts and research in nefarious ways to make bad arguments to back their racism and bigotry, but to then use that as an example to sort of quell the unrest surrounding biological women who want those differences to be spoken about and acknowledged is truly manipulative. Wow.
And now you're doing the same thing with trans women. Like, that's heartbreaking, especially because that same rhetoric will be used against you in the future. Transphobia is used against Black women all the time.
Can you elaborate on that? Transphobia is used against Black women all the time? This young woman, I don't even think knows what it means to be a woman, period. So how exactly is transphobia being used against Black women? Would love some clarification on that point.
But sure, your bone structure makes you a woman.
I love how she's focusing purely on the bone structure part of that argument, when chromosomes and DNA are totally valid. Your chromosomes are never going to change. As far as we know scientifically now, with all the blind medical affirmation that is happening right now with men transitioning to be women and women transitioning to be men, their chromosomes will never change. We can find it, we can detect it, and we can tell what sex you were born as. And to say that that is somehow a white supremacist talking point, rather than something that is factually accurate, shows how far we have decided to deviate from truth in modern society. All of these videos, I like to think, are going to be representative of a very fringe group of people within our population, and that these are not really widespread ideas, but it seems as though they are becoming more widespread. That piercing video had 87,000 likes.
Balls.
And I'm still in pain from just hearing about it. So clearly this is going further and further, and more people are choosing to adopt these beliefs. I am not in that camp. I think there's plenty to be said here that negates everything that was expressed in these videos. And I hope that more people are able to distinguish between what is fact and what is fiction, because much of what we just saw today is complete and utter fiction. I know these people have feelings surrounding, how they view themselves and what pronouns should be used and what piercings they should get, but those feelings are far devolved from fact. But guys, let me know how you feel about the videos we just watched. Leave your comments down below. As always, we encourage healthy debate, so duke it out, but do so respectfully. And please like, subscribe, click the notification bell to be notified every single time I post a video for you guys, which is every single day. And don't forget to sign up for that email list. It's in the description down below. I'll see you next time.